Hey, what is up ladies and gentlemen, I am Piglet here once again and I'm back for some more yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to some more of Let's Play of Yoshi's Crafted World for the Nintendo Switch. I know it's been about a couple of days ago since we've last uploaded something during the forms of our YouTube channel, but I'll explain more about it as soon as we dive right in. So anyways, last time we have managed to able to explore through the rest of the Dino Desert world and managed to gather the rest of the smiley flowers in the end. In addition with that, we also managed to find ourselves these Poochy pups of course, and also same applies to those souvenir huntings once in a while. So today, for this episode, is the fact that we're also able to wrap things up with Dino Desert, and hopefully we're able to actually finishing up with the souvenirs hunting while going back onto Dino Smash level. And then eventually at this point, whenever we finish up with that level, we're also going to be able to explore for the next level, which we also about to be planning to do pretty much the same thing. So either way, let's get to it with the actual main video itself. So yet again, for this point guys, I do apologize with the forms of the lack of uploads for not only for one day, not 2, but 3 days, because you know why I said this before, about the fact that recently I managed to grow myself my sore throat during the forms of on Friday. Well, turns out after we able to actually recover that from that specific sore throat, turns out I have now pretty much guaranteed to able to get myself my pretty awkward voice, which as you can tell, my voice wasn't exactly perfect today. So as a result, I do apologize with the forms about the fact that my voice commentary was a little bit too meh, but I'm really hoping we can guarantee we can able to continue this and beyond, especially because of how the fact that eventually at this point, that we're actually getting pretty close towards the end of February at this rate. So either way, a few things we want to explain about this actually is the fact that today's day is the forms of the 27th of February today in 2020. So a few interesting things has been happening at this point today is the fact that recently that the Mega Man 0/ZX Legacy Collections will be released today on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and of course Nintendo Switch, and even the PC Steam version. So that's pretty cool though. And secondly is the fact that for those of you the Pokemon fans out there, that recently that the Netflix exclusive Pokemon movie 22, Mewtwo Strikes Back Evolution, just recently came out today from the English country. So I'm also able to give that a watch until tonight, and then until tomorrow if possible, then I can probably discuss about my final thoughts of the actual the remake of Mewtwo Strikes Back film. Although to be honest with you, I need to watch the original one first so I can even compare that to the forms of how it does it on the most recent remake that just, you know, recently came out for about almost entirely a year ago or something like that. So either way, it's what I classify as such. So yeah, seems pretty cool all in all, but either way, then again, I'll give my final thoughts of it as soon as I'm able to watch it for myself. So either way, and the next thing I just want to talk about this right from the start also is the fact that recently that the PAX East 2020 has been hosted at this point today, and as far as I've noticed already is the fact that the only thing they actually did show us is the new footage of Animal Crossing New Horizons, including the actual gameplay demo of it itself too. So naturally speaking, for those of you the Animal Crossing fans out there, we're able to actually finally get a chance to experience the actual brief demo on, you know, Animal Crossing New Horizons. So either way, good thing if you might well able to actually keep your interest off, but unfortunately for me though, it's not my kind of thing, you know, so even though everyone else is different, sure enough, but either way though, it's just a little bit of a preference anyway, so but I digress. So yeah, you're gonna be hearing me trying to able to actually just go in an awkward voice at the moment, just because then again, I wasn't exactly 100% perfect by any means when it comes to like the better rate, but it's just that every time when I was trying to do this recording sessions during the forms of it, let's just say originally this was supposed to be uploaded in during the forms of on Monday, so that way we can able to catch up upon, you know, Yoshi's Crafted World Let's Play before new set of Let's Plays to come. Unfortunately though, That's not only just because of how the fact that I was having my sore throat ever since on last Friday, but also during the forms of that specific time, I think it was on Sunday if I recalled, that my voice has gone all, well, pretty much dead, and then at the same time, I couldn't even speak very well, and as a result, my voice is somehow feels like it's gone lost. It's like the Little Mermaid all over again, except, well, I'm just the actual talking toy, of course, so you know, and once again, I'm off by one thing left, which, by the looks of it, we need to find the, you know, the actual round cactuses, of course, so hopefully we'll try this again, and, well, then again, we don't have to necessarily find them all in one attempt, so you can able to actually just to find another one during the actual other time, so at least even then, though, unlike, Yoshi's Island, for instance, that if you're about to be trying to go after, you know, just for the sake of 100% completing the actual thing, well, you have to collect some of these collectibles within your first attempt, so, yeah, something's worth mentioning when it comes to old school video games, of course, since back in the past, so, but I digress. So anyways, let's go ahead and go after more of those Yoshi's eggs from now on, and let's just ignore this. Well, for whatever reason, I just simply double checking here because just to see if there was anything around here, but of course there wasn't any in this particular flip side for that specific area of some sort, so let's just go ahead and ignore that, and then just try to rush things through, and yep, I did see it just right over there, so there we go, we did manage to find all of these cactuses, so now I think we've only got about one more souvenir hunting left, which appears to be on, of course, the actual Scalosaurus level, which it seems pretty obvious for this rate, so thank you for giving me that, particularly the smiley flower, of course, and yeah, as you can see on screen, I'm actually going to be using Yellow Yoshi this time around, because although, technically, that we were going to be able to select Yellow Yoshi for the sake of the forms of Dino Desert World, but unfortunately, due to about the fact that we're going to be selecting different color Yoshis twice per video, like basically one color in 2 videos, and then another color in 2 videos, and vice versa though, really. So that's why I'm going to be doing for this particular little system as of now. So either way, let's head on to the forms of Scalosaurus Rex level, as you can see, for the final time, at least for now on anyway. And then we can able to find the Yoshi statues, which thankfully is pretty easy to spot, but then again, if you miss one of them, well, you're gonna have to go all the way back to the beginning of the level again, unless if you really want to go for the actual slowest part of the level, so yeah, that's the only things I must confess, so yeah, what's the thing I was really hoping for when it comes to PAX East 2020? I was hoping they're going to be bringing us something new to the table with SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Hydrated remake. So that way, not only does it will able to bring us more gameplay footage and stuff like that, because obviously we've already got a new gameplay footage of that ever since in last year, but it only just shows the actual Jellyfish Fields level, along with SpongeBob's moveset. So we're really hoping to see what's anything new on the actual gameplay footage of that specific remake, specifically the gameplay footage of Patrick Star with and Sandy Cheeks, which I'm not exactly sure what that's going to be represented for, but we'll see what happens during a later time though, but not now though, because, you know, we're playing the Yoshi game, of course. So anyways, let's go ahead and, you know, just trying to be very careful here, just in case we really refuse to able to miss out something, specifically, you know, with the actual souvenirs and stuff like that, so yeah, that's how it goes basically. So anyways, let's go ahead and, you know, gobble up some more enemies, in addition with, you know, just trying to get some more Yoshi's eggs for the sake of time, for, you know, the certain amount of ammo, so that way we can able to actually, you know, find the final statue, which, if I recall correctly, the final statue is just right down there, so we can either wait for the Scalosaurus to able to rack it up, or you can able to just ground pound these particular sound blocks, and then that way you can able to find it from here, so pretty swell. And if you're probably wondering about the fact that why does the actual commentary cuts off most of the time is because, well, every time I was trying to speak, while my voice has actually got slightly off for this point today, sometimes I keep on coughing a lot, which as a result, I just don't feel like trying to show you guys, or hear me guys, about the forms of my coughing stimulation, so that's one thing I need to classify that. So there we go, we pretty much gathered the rest of the smiley flowers on Dino Desert. Now let's go ahead and move on to, rather than the next level, which appears to be onto the skies or something like that, but rather we are actually going down to Pastoral Pathway, which I think that's what the level or the world itself is actually calls it here. So, and basically we need to get ourselves 15 smiley flowers to get there, and that way we can able to actually just dive right into this particular world. Now I'm pretty sure this world actually contains 3 levels, including the forms that specific capsule machine, as you already know. So anyways, let's get to it with the first level in Pastoral Pathway, and that appears to be Stitched Together, which, if for those who've ever played Yoshi's Woolly World before, this world might be familiar to you, or this level might be familiar to you, because if we dive right into the forms of Stitched Together, as soon as when this loading screens has been done and over with, is that, as you can see, most of the aspects, well, some of them are, well, usually, for example, if we try to shift this wall over here, it looks very similar to the forms of Yoshi's Woolly World, doesn't it? Except the fact that rather than just using those woolly balls, and especially noticeable that Yoshi himself was not covered in woolly and stuff like that, so even then, it's just the aesthetics and especially noticeable with the environment itself as well. Although, despite with the fact that most of these objects are still crafted anyway, but for some of these parts of the level, mainly with the forms of those balls of yarn as you can see on the background, that it might be familiar to you, because if you ever played Yoshi's Woolly World before, it doesn't matter if it's on the Wii U or the 3DS version, basically we're able to actually guarantee to see some of the balls of yarn during the background, which I would say looks pretty cool though. But unfortunately though, the actual soundtrack on this particular level does feel kind of underwhelming for me though, unlike some sweet chill out and catchy music has been going on in Yoshi's Woolly World, but I just don't understand why. They just constantly goes back and forth between some of those previous Yoshi games managed to have ourselves some very good music, while some of the Yoshi games does retain some of those bad music selection of choices of background music, like for example in Yoshi's New Island for the Nintendo 3DS, that game does manage to retain ourselves the really bad soundtrack, which to this day I think the Super Nintendo installment, the one that started it all, does manage to still retain the greatest music industries of all time. So either way, that's my kind of theory though, but that's just how it is for the most part. So, I suppose another thing I just want to discuss upon something is the fact that recently, I'm mostly able to pick up quite a few items. Well, only one during the forms of my own time, specifically on CEX, that the only shop I've always gonna be jump into when it comes to gaming industries, when it comes to likely for retro and sometimes modern stuff. Recently I did manage to able to pick up myself Metroid 2, The Return of Samus, the original cartridge version on the Game Boy. Now you guys are probably thinking about the fact that, have you already got that on Nintendo 3DS eShop Virtual Console version? Well, turns out it's true, but ultimately though, I just wanted able to actually have Metroid 2, The Return of Samus into my, let's just say, by the forms of my Metroid collection. I'm guessing the only games I need to get right now, or the left rather, is of course Metroid Prime Pinball for the Nintendo DS, despite it was actually a spin-off title more than anything else, but it borrows the exact same elements or the actual environment settings ever since during the forms of the original Metroid Prime, most likely, back in the forms of, you know, for the Nintendo GameCube, so that's how it goes basically when it comes to that specific knowledge. And I suppose another thing I just wanted to discuss on this also is the fact that recently I managed to able to order myself also in CEX, and that appears to be Mario Golf for the Nintendo 64. Well, the original Mario Golf anyway. And because of this though, I'm basically almost completely done with all the rest of the Mario games when it comes to Nintendo 64's physical cartridge versions of the Mario games on that system. Clearly because of the fact that, well, at this point in time, there was still no new Nintendo Direct to be signed around here, which I know some fans might actually be extremely upset about it, and I think probably due to the fact that the Zippo, that the one that he trying to tell us about the fact that we'll eventually get ourselves 2 Nintendo Directs during that month, but unfortunately though, that's not the case, because the only Direct we've only got is of course Animal Crossing New Horizons due to the forms of, well, that particular game will almost gonna come out during that time, but either way though, that's just how it is. But, it's pretty sad to say about the fact that none of these rumors was actually true now, so I was pretty much upset about it, and plus, because this is also another reason why that I have myself my very, very awkward voice right now, is because I'm feeling pretty much rusty when it comes to news, updates, or anything like that for this point right now, which, it seems it's getting pretty strict at this point in 2020. I mean, it's basically, it kind of reminds me of Mario Party 10's bare bones content syndrome, like you get like shorter amount of modes and also same amount of the forms of those. Well, I don't know how do I usually describe about that specific stuff because it's been about a couple of years since I've last touched upon, you know, Mario Party 10. In fact, speaking of Mario Party 10 actually, is the fact that Mario Party 10, we're almost going to be out for about 5 years until next month, which I can't even believe. The time itself has managed to go really, really quick, especially noticeable how the fact that, you know, basically we're pretty much almost nearly towards the end of February at this point, and then eventually we've already got ourselves about, well, let's say 3 days left actually, until, let's just say the next month we're about to be approaching, so, you know. And aside from those, unfortunately for the sake of time, there's not much else that I can able to speak of, sadly, just because, well, then again, at least we got ourselves the PAX East event, which usually starts right until right about now, and especially noticeable how the fact that, wow, I just managed to pick up 2 games, specifically one from, you know, for the original Game Boy, Metroid 2, the Return of Samus. Sorry for a little bit of a tangent right there, just because, then again, it's just because of my awkward voice has been so ruining for my whole entire experience at this point right about now. It's nothing I'm not that tired or anything like that, it's just that, well, I'm just felt a little bit more stressed out because of how the fact that, well, despite we have not got any new information on Nintendo Directs, and especially noticeable that we still have not got a new Mario game coming out on 2020 so far, and especially noticeable that no new information on the Zelda Breath of the Wild sequel for quite a long time, and even Metroid Prime 4, and especially noticeable there aren't any interesting moments here and there. Well, apart from the fact that recently, that, well, I suppose that Silver has already mentioned about this before, that Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition is now being rated as in the forms of, once again, T for teen for teenagers, just like the forms of how it does on the original Wii version, as well as the new 3DS version, so. And then we're hoping that we can able to finally get a release date on that, especially specifically with somewhat with Nintendo Directs perhaps. Anyways, let's go ahead and just shoot one of those clouds, and then we need to find, you know, with the fly guy with the actual smiley flower. And as such, then we basically gathered all the smiley flowers, basically. So now we just need to make our way to the very end of the level without taking any damage, which it might be not as easy as it looks though, just because, well, these stupid swooping stuff just managed to able to get in your way, and also same applies to those piranha plants, they easily just managed to able to go ahead and just disrupt you like none purpose whatsoever. But either way though, that's just how it goes basically. So unfortunately though, I seem to fail the forms of the no damage kind of challenge, sadly, but at least I can able to go back into this level again, so that way we can able to go for another attempt, and also we got all of the red coins, so how about that? So either way, before you're able to leave, just need to able to take down this piranha plant here, and I guess there's not much else to check out with, so let's just go ahead and finish off the actual main level itself. And, yeah, that's how it goes, basically. So either way, though, nicely done, sorry. And it looks like someone's playing A Hat in Time, which, I definitely need to get a hands on that game on the Switch. But the thing is, though, is the fact that, well, we're basically pretty much running out of ideas to able to purchase at this point right now, despite the fact that I've already purchased two of those retro games, basically. That one, you know, Metroid 2, The Return of Samus, and especially notable for Mario Golf for the Nintendo 64, just able to complete my Mario game collection for, you know, Nintendo 64 cartridge-wise. The only game exception is, of course, Dr. Mario 64, just because that game only saw the light of day in North America and stuff like that. And I suppose that could be true for, well, at least it only came out in North America, whilst in our country, especially in Japan, never got that game. So I guess that's pretty understandable for most other, I've no idea why they just never seemed able to release that game during everywhere else aside from America, but let me know in the comments below to see if how the fact that why Dr. Mario 64 never saw the light of day during the forms of, well, in European countries, or even especially noticeable with, you know, Japanese audiences or something, so. But I digress. So I suppose another thing I just want to talk about this also, before you're able to hit on to this next level, as you can see right there, Poochy's Sweet Run, which means that once again we have to, get a nice little fun thrill ride with, Poochy every once in a while, so even then I expect things to be happening, and, yeah, I managed to finally get back onto the forms of Mario Kart Tour, basically, for this recently, because the only reason being for that is because there's actually a new event that's been just happening during the forms of, let's just say, since yesterday, which is called Mario Brothers Event, which basically not only does it brings us to the forms of, the new alternate costumes for, well, the new cosmetic versions of Mario and Luigi based off on the classic outfits, but it's also the fact that, well, they also managed to bring us into the forms of the alternative Mario Circuit 1 track, which I think is actually pretty cool though. Because, I think the only reason why they're about to be doing the Mario Bros. Event specifically, maybe it's just me, but I'm pretty sure they might be able to do something to do with the 35th anniversary event at some point when it comes to the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. I'm not exactly 100% sure, just because then again, we are basically pretty much rusty at the moment when it comes to news, updates, or even Nintendo related news, so that's pretty much unfortunate right there, just because, well, at this point in time is the fact that again is that the coronavirus is still a thing, and also same applies to the forms of how the fact that, well, you know, it's just how the fact that it just gets pretty much bare bones as it will get, so at least we're hoping we can get something new out of it and during, well, let's just hoping during the forms of it in March at some point that we might get the directs from here, so that way, you know, just like how we got the March Direct ever since in 2016, and especially noticeable for 2018. So we're really hoping in 2020 that we'll definitely guarantee to get ourselves the Nintendo Direct from that specific month, which it might be seems pretty uncommon because of how the fact that, well, most leakers out there seems to go all over the place in some form or another, and especially noticeable with the actual hashtags, just managed to go and say like, where's the Nintendo Direct? Or something like that, or in this case, man, I think we should probably get some pitchforks and stuff like that. The ones they've on about is of course the general Nintendo Directs, because of how the fact that we have still not got the general Nintendo Direct ever since in well, let's just say, as you probably guys should already know, since September last year in 2019. So even then though, God knows what might happen next. So even then we're really hoping if how the fact that if not only just we're able to going back into this game so that way we can able to discuss upon new things, but until when it gets to the point until, let's just say on next Monday or something like that, when we do the redo Let's Play of Super Mario Sunshine, then expecting about the fact that we could able to actually discuss something new or something like that, so. But then again though, everything else is all dead silence at the moment, especially it's specifically because of how the fact that, well, we almost ended up like a desert or something like that when it comes to waiting for these Nintendo Directs, but that's probably just me anyway though. So anyways, let's go ahead and grab these 2 more red coins here. So even then though, I actually really do like this level actually, because it always kind of reminds me of let's just say some sort of like a Sweet Mountain fetish look to it, especially with Desert Ruins from Sonic Lost World. So anyways, let's aim the one with the correct smiley flower from that specific angle right here, or for that specific flip side section right here. So hopefully we would be able to actually get ourselves the next smiley flower, as we said so. I believe the actual purple stuff is actually pretty dangerous, because if you do fall off onto that purple stuff, basically you not die instantly. Instead, you're able to drag, you'll be taken back all the way to the actual beginning portion of that specific segment again. So something's worth mentioning, by the way, so I just want to label to actually let you guys know about that. So, oh my gosh, an ambush! And yeah, you can able to actually eat those guys with just a simple, just eat them with your tongue and stuff like that. But the ones you can't eat is of course the actual silver versions of these guys, because obviously they're more likely just trying to referencing the metal material, or in this case tinfoil, as far as I like to know what the actual materials are. So yeah, it's pretty much exactly know what that's gonna be brings us to. So. But then again, for this point guys, I do apologize with the forms of the commentary for the sake of time for this point today, because I've just felt a little bit more, well, I'm almost feeling quite better than the forms of how it does on the previous 3 days, from Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday, but unfortunately though, I'm not exactly perfect for that yet, because, well, my voice is still a little bit off, and also that every time whenever I was doing my commentaries and stuff like that, especially with my voice has actually gone, oh, you off? Well, too bad unfortunately, because of how the fact that, well, I'm really hoping I can truly make myself a little bit more better. Oh my goodness gracious me, that was actually pretty close for that regard. But either way though, we at least we did made it for that specific pathway that we can able to take from here, so. And let's grab some more hearts from here, just in case, for the sake of the forms of the smiley flower to able to actually go after. Now, I'm not exactly sure what's down there though, but either way though, this is entirely optional, so. So anyways, let's go on to these little springy stuff. And I do apologize with the actual corny dialogue for that particular point, because there's not much else I can discuss. So anyways, let's eat those berries up within the actual time limit, and after we've done so already, we might be able to get ourselves the next smiley flower. That doesn't end off here, because I'm presuming that will be the final smiley flower as soon as we're able to make our way towards the goal. So even then though, let's do this nice little bouncy bounce, and there we go. We did manage to gather all the smiley flowers, but once again, I'm always off by 4 of those godforsaken red coins, which, don't worry though, we'll find them exponentially after we deal with the amount of jump cuts as soon as we're able to, just to find 4 of those final of those red coins basically. So there we go. We're pretty much done with Poochy's sweet run, so even then it was a pretty sweet run indeed, especially noticeable at that. It almost becomes like pretty flawless for the most part though, but either way though, it's just too bad because of how the fact that, well, we're missing out on, well, the final 4 red coins still. But you know, that's just how it goes when it comes to the forms of casual plays most of the time. But anyway, so I made you guys back on the forms of the, well, all the hearts run in the forms of Stitch Together, and afterwards then I'll show you guys where the final 4 of those red coins are in Poochy's Sweet Run, so. Alright, I made you guys on that specific ending section right here, as you can see. But the thing is, as you can tell, I actually got all of the hearts for my 20 heart pieces at this point, but whoa! Jeez Louise, man, that was actually really close, especially that if I accidentally fell off due to those guys managed to almost run into me, well, I'll be able to be pretty damped by that, so anyway. So, on the upside though is the fact that I basically pretty much guaranteed to able to 100% for this particular level right now, so even then though, there goes my 20 hearts, so even then though, that's pretty much it for Stitch Together, at least on the front side anyway, so either way, now on to the red coins. Alright, so it turns out, in the ending portion of Poochy's section, there's that particular cakes, as you can see right there, or cupcakes, and if you do so already, then you are able to find the final 4, as you can see. So there we go, we basically take care of those things out of the way, so I guess we'll pretty much get the endings off at this point right there. So join me next time on Let's Play Yoshi's Crafted World, is the fact that we're also able to hit on to the next level in Pace Your Pathway, Yoshi pulls some strings, so see you guys then.